Hey YouTube, Matt and Roy back again. Well, there's another mini DV camcorder that I picked up a few days ago off of Craigslist. And you've actually may have seen some videos that I've shot with this so far. If you watched my lighting and changing the wick on the Coleman lantern video, was shot using this camera. And also, I'm sorry, the room tour video, the last room tour video I did, I also shot with this camcorder. If we take a closer look at this, it is a Samsung, and it's model SC-D372, and of course, because I'm in the USA, it is the NTSC version. It is mini DV. It boasts a 2.7-inch widescreen LCD, multi-language display, digital image stabilizer, and color night shutter. Now, this is a decent camera, but I'm going to say two things right off the bat that I don't like about this. Number one is to use the digital image stabilization or the color night shutter, and that also includes the light in front. You have to be in 4:3 mode. That's right, for some reason with this camera, if you're shooting in 16:9, which is what I'll usually shoot in, because let's face it, that's what most people use nowadays, these last two options, the digital image stabilization and the color night shutter with the light, are disabled. But other than that, this camera does give fairly good video quality. As you can see, it also has a 34x optical zoom. Here on the side are your basic forward and rewind buttons, or rewind and forward, play, pause, and stop. And of course, when you're recording in the camera mode, this button is the fade button, and then this one activates the night and the light in front, puts it into night mode. Right here is the easy share button, very similar to my Sony. If you push that, it basically will load Windows Movie Maker in my case, but you can always have it load whatever you use. If you have it set to load something like Sony Vegas, when you push that program would come up. Probably not a feature I'm going to use too much. As you can see, the camera's in fairly good shape. There are a couple light scratches. There's one right here, and one right there, and one just right there, and I think that's about it. Go ahead and open this up. This reveals the screen. Let me see if I can shine some more light. So now that the screen's open, you can see it's a fairly nice size, again 2.7 inches. Right up here you have your menu button, wide and tall or menu selecting depending on what mode you're in, and then your OK button. And because this is one of the more basic models, there are actually no functions or anything under here except for a speaker, which allows you to listen to your video when you're playing back through the camera. It has a color viewfinder. Samsung battery sits right here, and underneath is actually a battery to keep the time. It's a CR2025. Very similar to what most computers use to keep the BIOS memory. On top you have your zoom or wide and tall button, a photo button right here, but again this particular camcorder is not full feature, so it does not have any type of SD card slot, so it basically just stores the photos on the digital tape. Right here we have the display button and the menu button, fairly self-explanatory. There's your record button there. And on the side, this is your player. Push it up to play a tape, or push it down to camera mode to actually record video. And right up here, under this little door, we have the DV input for FireWire, and that's what I use mostly. And then just the AV port. Actually, how this works is you plug the AV cable right into there, and then you can plug the other ends into any standard TV set, and you can watch recorded video on the TV set. There's a door here which is not used, probably was used on one of the higher models. And the very last thing on here is the charging port, which is right in here. As you can see, it's one of those kind of proprietary connections. And this is the actual charging DC brick. And you can see the end of that is kind of unusual. It's just proprietary, probably only used for a Samsung camcorder. But if you guys know any other camcorders that use this particular connection or what it is, remember, please leave it in the comments. So let's go ahead and turn it on. And as you can see right away, it tells you at top the battery. In this case it's full because I just charged it. It's in 16:9 wide mode, of course on standby, and I always record in SP mode because it gives you the best quality. The position I'm on the tape, but it's off because I've actually ejected this tape and re-recorded some things, but 23 minutes left and it's recording in 16-bit audio. Now if I click the menu button here, this actually goes to just kind of a quick menu, they call it. BLC, I'm not exactly sure what that is. DIS, Digital Image Stabilization. This is the aperture, the program one. I have it on auto right now. White balance I usually keep on auto, unless I'm indoors, because I can change that. This does have, I believe, a feature for indoor, outdoor, and custom. But for now, I'm just going to leave it on auto. Shutter speed, again, I'm going to keep it on auto, but you do have a manual option there as well. Exposure, you can choose the different exposures. Again, probably just going to keep that on auto unless I feel a need to use it. Maybe if I'm outside and I want to go ahead and get a little bit more light, or inside and I want a little bit more. Focus. Now, manual focus is nice because if you're looking at something very close up with some cameras, it has a hard time doing the autofocus. So I will be using manual focus on this probably quite often, but the rest of everything there I'll probably just keep on auto. And then you can just hit menu to close that off. Now on this particular camcorder, to get to the full menu you have to push this button here, this actual menu button, and then this gives you quite a bit more options. And as you can see, the first one's the camera menu. This is pretty much what we saw before. You can scroll down here, you have the record mode, the audio mode, the wind cut, which I keep off unless I'm recording outside, and the real stereo should be on. Let's see if I can go back there real quick. We'll go ahead and turn that on. I didn't actually realize that was off. On, and then you go up here to back, and you're back to the main menu. Scrolling down here, you have the LCD brightness, the color of the LCD, the date and time, and the TV display, which is this cable right here. System, this is again clock set, the beep sound when I'm moving the menu, and the language. And that is pretty much it for the menus on this camcorder. Again, it's a nice camcorder, but it is a more basic model. There really isn't a lot of extra features on this. But for doing simple recordings, it really does a good job. And I did just clean the heads on it. Let me go ahead and show you how the tape ejects on here. It's kind of awkward. I'm not crazy about this feature. Right under the strap here is actually the tape eject. So you have to push that down and kind of pull it out, and the tape comes out just like this and pops out. And again, it's just a standard mini DV tape, nothing you guys probably haven't seen 100 times. I did have one issue when I first got this though. The first video, couple videos I did, including that lantern, the wick replacement on the Coleman lantern, weren't as clear as I thought they should be, and there were two reasons for that. Number one, when I looked at it, I noticed that I thought I had cleaned the lens, but when I looked at it again, it actually had a film on the outer edges. And if you watch the room tour video that I did, on certain parts, it looked like in a circular formation the edges were kind of blurred. And I think what wound up happening was somebody had gotten some water on the edge of the lens here, and it had a long enough time to kind of just, I don't want to say permeate the glass, but it kind of got gooey in there. And when I initially cleaned the lens, I just didn't get the edges. So I used some of the special computer screen cleaner that I have, and it works absolutely great. You spray it on and you wipe it off a few times, and as you can see, that lens is perfectly clear right now. No residue left on there whatsoever. Now the second problem I was having, and I'm not sure if the camera can pick it up or not, but right there is the main head that reads the tape, reads and writes the tape information, very similar to a VCR. Well, right on top there, I guess they must have had a tape or something. There was all of this blue kind of dye, and I noticed that it was sitting right where the top part of the head where you'd be reading the video information is. So once I cleaned those two things, I did another test video, which I'm not going to bother uploading because I'm sure you guys are getting tired of seeing that. But once I did that, it got a lot clearer. Especially in the room tour video, I noticed that the video in parts was a little grainy, especially like if I went close up on a black or a dark image. So I think I've solved both of those problems. I'm going to go ahead and put the tape back in. Very easy to close this one. And then just shut that. And I'll just read you guys the information again. On the front here you have the tape eject button. This is the stereo microphone. The light, which again for me is going to be absolutely useless unless I want to shoot in 4:3 mode. And the actual lens on this is a Schneider, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce that other name because I have no idea, but you guys probably know what this is, this lens. At least some of you guys probably do. And if you look at the lens information here, it actually says optical 34x zoom, f2.3 to 78.2 millimeters, so that's pretty good. And then f1.6, and I'm not sure what that 30 means. It's been quite a few years since I went to photography school. But again, other than the camera, when I bought it, I got the AV cable, the power, the charger, and the battery, and that was pretty much it. Now, I'll show you guys if it'll come in that it does have a color viewfinder, which is kind of unusual. None of my mini DVs do. All the ones I have so far, the JVC and the the Sony's, the High 8, but all of those have black and white viewfinders. So this was just a quick review of my new camcorder. Definitely look for some videos coming real soon, other ones using this camcorder. I'll probably save this for ones where I have to zoom in and out a lot, and I will be using this to do some of my friend Chris's videos in the future. Look him up on YouTube. It's Chris Galosi of Galosi Enterprises. And I hope you guys enjoyed this quick review of the Samsung SC-D372. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments section. And as always, have a blessed day, everybody.